So Draymond decided to go on Shaq's podcast and answer the age-old question: who would win in a back and forth? Kobe and Shaq Lakers or the Super Team Warriors? And can Draymond really defend Shaq?
Shaq's Lakers against your Golden State Warriors. 7-game series. You pick any of my championship team, any of your championship team. Who wins? And the bonus question: who guarding me? And you can be honest. You ain't gonna hurt my feelings.
I don't think any one player on our team could have guarded you. I do think there were defensive schemes that we could have thrown at you to affect you. One is not letting you get the ball. So we're going to guard you with a guy in front of you, a guy behind you.
They did that.
Yeah, I wasn't on the court, though.
Portland did that.
Defensive schemes
Portland did that.
Schemes like that.
Portland did that. Sacramento did that.
I watched. I wasn't on the floor.
Hey, let me prep everybody. A lot of ego is about to be a display between Draymond and Shaq, and I'm gonna appreciate it. You know, we're here for the loves. We're here to react, right? But Draymond, you fronting Shaq is borderline irrelevant. I get that you may feel like you do a better job at fronting than players back then, but also you're fronting worse post players than players back then. So sure, yeah, you probably do a better job, and you're probably a little bit more active and aggressive. But this going up against teams that don't scheme for post play, players who don't have the practice of entry passes, because that's something I've noticed been a lost art in the last 5 to 7 years watching the game even more closely than I normally do. Yeah, the lost art of an entry pass is completely just gone. And I think that even though, yes, you do a fantastic job at fronting players, you're fronting worse post defenders as well. So let's just call a spade, my brother.
Making defensive game plans.
All right, so what you gonna do? Stand behind me?
I'm standing in front. Ain't no ball getting to you.
What you mean the ball don't get to me? They just gonna throw it over your head?
I'm not 6 feet.
But you ain't 7 feet.
I got 7'3" wingspan.
And I got 9'4" wingspan.
Yeah, but you still got to get the ball. You can't get the ball through me.
No, it's going to go over you, Draymond.
Andrew Bogut's behind.
Stop
I'm in the front.
Stop it.
We're leaving somebody over there to shoot because you couldn't shoot during that time.
I got Bob. I got B. Shaw. I got Rick.
Bob ain't just about to stand out there launching. Y'all stand out there launching. Nobody was just launching threes then, Shaq. I don't care how old.
You're right about that. But however,
this is the thing. The one thing what he's saying is correct. But this is where we kind of get into this mode of if they need to, they would though. And that's the thing that I will say about today's era basketball conversation, that people just act as if those players back then couldn't shoot threes. If they needed to though, they would go out there and shoot threes. For example, if he's talking about, because I don't know which team he's talking about, because Big Shot Bob didn't come on until later on, or was it earlier? When did Big Shot Bob come on? Let's just take the 01 Lakers, because again, I want to be clear. Just because they didn't shoot them doesn't mean they can't shoot them. Because I remember in 2001 when the Lakers were sweeping everybody, bro, they were knocking down threes. I think D Fish shot 50% from three that year. Yeah, D Fish in the postseason shot 51% from three. Robert Horry shooting 36%. B shot 34, and Ty Lue 38. And this is during a point in time where they're not making their threes and they're not shooting them at a high rate. But also they have more competent bigs to at least slow down Shaq than Andrew Bogut. No knocking Bogut, right? But if you're telling me that you're going to have to commit so much so that you're willing to leave someone open consistently, I personally feel like if they go with lineups, because they were starting Horace Grant, but if need be, they could put out there Robert Horry. If you're going to leave Robert Horry open consistently enough, nah, bro, you're gonna lose that matchup. You're gonna lose it.
But however, Bogut gonna be in foul trouble.
You're not getting the ball, Shaq.
But when I'm running down the court, he gonna try to muscle me with his weak. He gonna get 1 foul. He gonna get 2 fouls. Now who your backup center?
Me.
Draymond, stop.
Jesus. I'm floored at what this brother just said. You? Draymond, you? Come on, brother. I love the ego, the bravado, the competitive nature. My nigga, but if Bogut gets in foul trouble, you're cooked. It's done. It's finito. There's no conversation anymore because y'all don't have another competent big to even throw out there. And Andrew Bogut really and truly ain't the big that you want to put on him anyway.
Shaq, I don't think I could have guarded you. I'm not saying that.
I'm
not saying that. However, you would have had to bring your big out of that drop. You do realize they created which nobody does anymore because they can't. But they used to call it Shaq'ing the screen. Shaq the screen, where you just stay back in the paint. You got to Shaq. Man, if you stay back there, I'm going to nail whoever guarding Steph. I'm going to nail whoever guarding Clay, and we're going to dot your eye every play.
Okay, but you know what's going to happen after that? I'm going to tell D-Fish, get up on him, let him drive, and I'm going to lay his little out.
D-Fish can't make him drive. I'm going to whack him with these screens. You ever seen me set screens?
Draymond. Draymond, bro, your screens aren't more physical than the screens back in the day. You think you set more physical screens than Tim Duncan? Do you genuinely believe that, brother? Do you believe you set more physical screens than the power forwards in the 2000s? Unless they allowing you to get away with moving screens, which, as a sidebar, Draymond is hilarious when he's sitting here like, I'm gonna whack him with a screen. Nigga, you set moving screen. That's how you get away with a lot of the things that you do, and that's how Curry gets get away with a lot of space that he gets to make those shots. They're moving screens.
It'll take us one play to get up on him, and when he drive, I'm laying his out.
And then we got to fight.
All right, what you got to fight then?
And guess what? You getting thrown out the game and me getting thrown out the game. Who's that going to hurt worse? Your team.
So I guess
and y'all lose.
So I guess we're not going to fight then. So.
Actually, you know what? He's right. So yeah, Shaq don't get into a fight. But in terms of like what Shaq is referring to, which is actually kind of crazy because I think Shaq's response was actually pretty smart. Yeah, just push him off the 3-point line. Play over the top, force them to get to the basket in the mid-range area. Even if they settle for a bunch of like mid-range jump shots and they make them at a respectable clip, it won't be anywhere near close to the level of 2-pointers that they're making with Shaq and Kobe.
Who's your backup center?
Our backup center was it depends on which year, but
forget all that.
David West is
who wins?
JaVale McGee.
Who?
And Draymond is a character, bro. He knew that shit was gonna trigger this nigga. Imagine Shaq even getting the thought of being defended by JaVale McGee. Just the thought would make this nigga so excited, bro. I know this nigga gonna go out there and try to get 50 on this nigga every single night.
We win the series, sure.
Draymond, stop it.
For sure.
Listen, I love you and I love your confidence, but ain't no way.
How we lose? How do we lose?
Because of me and the Copster and Big Shot Bob and B Shaw.
We trading two. You get your dunks. We trading twos for threes.
Yeah, but y'all ain't going to hit threes all the time.
We going to hit enough of them.
Yeah, but not all the time.
You just got to hit the three at 37%.
This is where like the math is not mathing Draymond. Because I think that people tend to forget, bro, the offense that the Shaq and Kobe Lakers were running at in the postseason, especially in 2001, was comparable to a lot of offenses in today's game. I'm gonna try to take this conversation as serious as possible, you know what I'm saying? So in 2001, the Lakers had an offensive rating of almost 112, 111.6. Think about that for a second. The Warriors in the regular season had an offensive rating of 115. That's ridiculously close for effectively 2 eras of basketball. And in the playoffs, they played at a pace. I'd be mad if it was like 120. Yeah, 120. So the playoffs is a bit of a difference. But the point I'm trying to make though is that when Draymond is saying that all we have to do is make our threes at like a 36-37% clip, no, you do not. Shaq in that postseason run was converting his twos at such an abnormal rate that you would have to shoot him way higher than 36-37%. If I'm not mistaken, I think Shaq was converting his 2-pointers that postseason run 55% clip and going up against teams that had personnel to stop him. And then it went up against the Philadelphia 76ers against the Dikembe Mutombo and was converting his 2-pointers at a 57% clip. And again, these are bigs who actually couldn't stop him, who actually had the physicality to keep up with him. And when Shaq went up against bigs who didn't have the physicality to keep up with him, he was converting his 2-pointers at like a 60+% clip. So the fact that you think that y'all could keep up by just shooting 37% from 3, no. Curry would effectively, and Durant, would still have to be shooting and scoring relatively at the same level that they would normally have to be shooting and scoring to keep up with Shaq. Because I want to say Shaq, I'm trying to think, let's go to the Brooklyn Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets, the New Jersey Nets series where the Nets team didn't have any bigs at all. And in the New Jersey Nets series, Shaq averaged 36 points and shot nearly 60% from the field, which means he had a true shooting percentage of almost 64%. So again, that's on par with whatever KD and Curry are doing normally. Kobe in that same series also had a true shooting percentage of 62%. Again, that's on par with what KD and Curry was doing in 2017. So what they were doing back then in a more defensive-oriented era, an era that actually had bigs that could slow down Shaq, at their absolute best, they were still comparable to what y'all were doing back in 2017 offensively. So no, brother, you're gonna have to shoot these threes at the same clip that you're normally shooting at them, if not higher, because if Kobe and Shaq can have true shootings of 60+% going against a more defensive-oriented era, and Shaq having true shootings that are like high 50 to 60s going up against the Dikembe Mutombo and other bigs that are just way better post defenders than you and Andrew Bogut, no. Shaq will end these series converting his shots at around 65%. 100% clip. And what's even crazier is that, because I think Shaq did something similar to that against Ben Wallace as well. Yeah. Against Ben Wallace, Shaq converted 63% of his 2-pointers. That's against Ben Wallace. Anyone who wasn't his height and definitely not his size, Shaq was just ragdolling them left and right. So the fact that you think that 37% is going to, no, it's not. It's not going to be good enough. It's not going to be anywhere near close enough. And that's just talking about Shaq, because Kobe was going up against, again, more defensive slanted teams back then, and he still was cooking them. He cooked the San Antonio Spurs. He cooked the New Jersey Nets. So the deeper we actually get into the lineage of the three-peat, the better Kobe is, the worse that y'all are going to be as well.
Who guarding Kobe?
Clay.
Look, bro. All respects to Clay. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Man, Clay is an amazing guy, great player, and this may not be the stage in his career where we should be ultra critical of him. But Bruce Bowen was struggling to stay in front of Kobe. Clay was struggling to stay in front of Kyrie. You think that Kobe ain't gonna get off on Klay Thompson? Okay. And God forbid if Kobe has it going from 3 as well. But okay.
We'll continue this conversation.
You can look at Klay now and say, he's not the Klay he was then.
We'll continue this conversation on your podcast. No.
Sure.
Ain't nobody guarding him, ain't nobody guarding me. And ain't nobody guarding Steph, and ain't nobody guarding Clay. I understand that, but y'all not beating us.
Yeah, I think we probably in 5, maybe 6.
6 what?
Games. Max.
6 years when I'm 40?
Max 6 games.
Draymond.
Max 6 games.
Bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is. I'm gonna say this because it seems like I'm leaning more to the Lakers. I am a Laker fan, but to be objective here for a second, the conversation, in all honesty, should be what exactly can Kevin Durant do? Because not to like poo-poo Curry, but at that point in time in Curry's career, he wasn't the greatest shot creator that he may need to have been to like really compete. I do believe that Curry would have been getting off on those screens though, to be fair, because Shaq is not playing high enough. But it will come down to how KD performs against Rick Fox and Kobe in terms of scoring wise. And if Draymond and Iguodala can knock down enough threes to kind of keep everything at bay. That's really it. Because if Draymond and Iggy can knock down their threes, then at that point, yes, the role players, the supporting cast members are going to produce enough points that will be suffice enough to kind of keep up. But if they're not knocking down their threes, and you're telling me that you're going to allow Robert Horry, Horace Grant, Derek Fisher, like the rest of the supporting cast to get open looks routinely, even if they're 2-pointers, they're eventually going to win out a lot of those games, in large part because they're still knocking down quality looks 2-pointers at a much higher clip than Draymond and Iggy might be knocking down their 3-pointers. Regardless, so at the end of the day, I find all this stuff very, very interesting. Warriors, one of the best teams in NBA history. I do think that the Lakers, Shaq and Kobe Lakers, when they were at their absolute best, when they had all things clicking and just running through the entire Western Conference and only lost 1 game, I do think that's a bit more of a conversational piece because Shaq is like by far and away, at that point, in my opinion, he would have been by far and away the best player on the floor, and it would not even close, in large part because the Warriors just didn't have anybody on the floor to compete with Shaq on either sides of the floor, and you would have had to put Shaq in compromising situations, sure, drop coverage, him not being able to step up and defend in space against Curry, so Curry is dotting all those quality looks from 3, and I think that's a fair assessment as well. But unless Curry is shooting those at like a 45% clip, if not higher, then I actually just genuinely believe Shaq himself will be able to supersede whatever Curry is producing on his own, and I think KD and Kobe kind of trading off some 2s, some 3s, Kobe getting to the basket a little bit more as well, especially since everybody is collapsing on Shaq and there's no real backline help. Yeah, I think that Kobe will also kind of win that matchup or at least do a little bit of something here and there. But I just genuinely believe if Draymond's argument is defensively, we're leaving everyone open and just allowing us to try to contain Shaq as much as possible, I don't even think you're going to be able to pull that off. But if your result is leaving Robert Horry and Rick Fox and Derek Fisher open, I think they can make enough threes to counteract whatever productivity that like Iguodala and Draymond are producing. And on top of that, because Shaq is on the floor, the Warriors can't even play the style of basketball that they normally like to play, which is small ball. But yo, let me know your thoughts. This is a fun conversation. Interesting dialogue, man. But yeah, that's just the video.